Turbo and 2K show.
What is up, 2K crew? It is that time of the week again, and I just want to take the first couple seconds here to wish all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day. If you haven't wished yours yet, here's your chance. Here's your friendly reminder from Turbo to give your dad a call, give your dad a text, and wish him happy Father's Day, because one day that call and text will not be available. So take advantage of it while you can. Love those dads out there, dads. How were the gifts? How was your day? My day was going very good. Very good. Got a brand new Blackstone. The last one I had. This is the second one we've had. The first one lasted about 6-7 years, and finally it was getting nasty. It was getting beyond repairs. So the wife and kiddos got together and got me a new one. I think they secretly wanted smash burgers and other stuff to come off of it. But either way, great present from her and the kids, and big shout out to them and thank you. And Red Sox big win. Red Sox big win. Sweep the Yankees at home. Utter just dominance of Aaron Judge. Vibes are high. We're in, the Red Sox, as it sits right now, occupy the playoff spot. So life is good, right? Life is amazing. Then all of a sudden, I come up here to the studio to get everything set up, and all of a sudden, holy shit, Rafael Devers has been traded from the Red Sox to the Giants, which, mind you, the Red Sox play the Giants here like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So this time next week. So what an awkward ride. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into a little bit of the Yankees series and just a couple little other things. But yes, that obviously the Devers thing is the big talk of sports, really. I mean, there's the golf, which I look to see who is leading. I know there's a big rain delay. If you were following a couple folks on Twitter, they were shocked that Tiger Woods was winning the U.S. Open and didn't realize that it was indeed in a rain delay. So I'm sure with that rain at Oakmont, that track is nasty. That track is nasty. And I have a feeling that we'll see and like I said, I was checking ESPN and could not. I saw a leaderboard, but didn't know if everything was final, and my phone really hasn't gone off about it yet. Actually, yes, it did. JJ Spawn wins the U.S. Open, so congrats to him. That's awesome. Well, let's get into a couple other things here that I wanted to touch on before we get into the Devers trade. I wanted to get into this last week and completely and utterly forgot. One of our own 2K crew, Mr. Jeremy Warren, his son is a part of this Murray State baseball team making their magical run into the College World Series. So big shout out to him, proud papa, and Derek LeBron coming out of the bullpen. And I do have a couple little tidbits here about the College World Series together. This is Sickos Committee. No college baseball team that made the College World Series in 2024 made it this year in 2025. First time that's ever happened since 1957. Wild. So that got me checking on, first of all, wife and I had Google where the hell Murray State was, and it's very little college town in Kentucky. This is from Garrett Armbrust. Murray State is one. This is an older tweet, so keep in mind they did get that win to go to Omaha. But their own players tarp the field at home games. Their enrollment is 9,941 students. They were a 4 seed in their regional. This was only their 4th NCAA tournament appearance, 1 win away from the College World Series. And honestly, 2K crew, how awesomely cool is that? How cool is that? I mean, that's not the right one. Let me find the right slide here. I'll find it. Hang on. Where the hell did I go? Either way, we'll keep going. There it is. But after taking a little bit further deep dive here, if I'm not mistaken, the manager of the Racers, he's the one that actually cuts the grass, and his salary is just a fraction of Duke's, which is what that was the team they had to beat in that that tweet that I just shared. They had to beat Duke to make it to the College World Series, and made their debut yesterday. Came up a little bit short against UCLA, 6-4. Um, I watched part of that game, and kudos to the Racers for making it close, because it didn't. It seemed like that UCLA team was just taking batting practice. So good adjustment from their team, good adjustment from them. Way to hang on. And I believe they play tomorrow at 2 o'clock on ESPN against Arkansas. So man, yeah, they have to come out the gate swinging. UCLA and now Arkansas. So big shout out to them. Best of luck. I have a very good feeling that hopefully this is a thing for sign to come. There are things to come for Murray State. So I did want to talk about a couple other things here. For those of you that do not see 2Ks, he was actually on call this weekend and was not able to attend tonight's show. So big shout out to him. I'm sure he will be back next week, where I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about this. But this does kind of have a Red Sox kind of tie here. But this is from Woodward Sports Network over on Twitter. Jackson Jobe is undergoing Tommy John surgery. Absolutely brutal for the Detroit Tigers. And yes, this is it brutal? It sucks. Yeah, it does. This is a Tigers team that, yes, they've had their bumps and bruises along the way, but have remained for the most part pretty healthy. Pretty healthy. And I get it. It always sucks when you lose a starter. Always sucks, especially for the season. With Tommy John, always horrible. But this kid is very, very young, has a lot ahead of him, so I'm not too concerned. Obviously, he's done for this year and possibly for the most of next year. But this was a young kid that just made his debut last year. Came up late in the year. Did get some time in the playoffs in the bullpen. They were hoping to kind of move him along, but yet still keep him kind of under a pitch count going into this season. So his usage wasn't as prolific as some of the other more established starters. But yeah, it does suck. It does suck. This kid was doing very, very well. Seemed like he had just everything rolling. So big shout out to Jackson Jobe and his family. But the Red Sox tie here is kind of interesting. This is from Lynn G. Henning over on Twitter. On the night Jackson Jobe's surgery is announced, Marcelo Meyer has twice homered for the Red Sox. Tigers were expected to take Meyer with a third overall pick in 2021. Instead, shocked everyone by opting for Jobe. Red Sox delightfully took Meyer at number 4. And for you Tigers fans, how awesome would it be to have kind of that luxury at shortstop with Meyer? That was one of the biggest, under the last regime with the Tigers. That was some of the biggest complaints. Was yes, they are stacked with pitching prospects, stacked to the gills, but they had no position talent, none. And Spencer Torkelson was kind of that first real splash with the position player, and we've since seen, with this new regime that they like to mix things up. Yes, you still got to keep a fresh stream of arms coming up through the minors, but these shortstops don't grow on trees. Hitters don't grow on trees, even though it seems like it. But it's kind of interesting when you look back at that, and I do remember that draft and sitting there going, okay, if there's not a chance in hell that Marcelo Meyer falls to the Red Sox at 4. And at the time, it didn't seem like the Red Sox needed a shortstop. And then all of a sudden, it's one after another. This happens. Xander's out. We signed Trevor Story. Trevor Story goes down, and it's like, okay, we saw last season how important a shortstop is to any team, let alone the Red Sox. But let's see, what else can we get into before here? Well, let's start. I don't want to rip the Band-Aid off yet. I want to focus on the positive. And then we'll get into the icky stuff. This is from Gordo over on Twitter. Red Sox starters have 21.1 innings in this series and have only allowed one run, a 0.42 ERA. Aaron Judge was 1 for 12 with 9 strikeouts and a backbreaking double play. The Yankees just got shut out and scored 4 runs in 28 innings all series long. So basically what that whole tweet encompasses is what the Red Sox haven't done well all year, and that's pitch. And outside of Garrett Crochet, and yes, Crochet was one of the starters in this series, but we were seeing Cora yank starters way too early. And we saw every pitcher, and I believe the last 5 or 6 games, go at least 6 innings. So that in a bullpen that has been asked to do a ton so far this season, to have them not be taxed, not used as much. I mean, we've seen bullpen arms go down. So for the starters to actually go more than 5 innings is huge. And it's you see what the dividends are. Fresh arms out of the bullpen equals more crisp stuff, equals less hits, equals less runs. I mean, plain and simple. Plain and simple. Now, one other cool thing that tweet did not specify or go into was the fact that these were there was a couple one run games, and the Red Sox had lost 14 straight or something ridiculous 1-run games, and all of a sudden, when the bullpen isn't taxed, when the bullpen is has ample rest, those leads aren't lost late in the game. And it also helps when the starters excuse me, the starters don't give up 6, 7, 8 runs in the first inning or first couple innings. We're seeing clean first innings from the starters. So all the entire pitching staff as a whole said, okay, let's show up, let's show out. This is only the second sweep for the Red Sox all season, and I believe the first one was back in April against the Cardinals, when the Cardinals couldn't find their ass from a hole in the ground, and they were struggling and reeling. And now we see the Cardinals are actually kind of legit. But where does this leave the Red Sox? After this series, where does it leave the Red Sox? Well, they're 6.5 back of the Yankees, 37-36, over 500. This team, after Bregman went down, was reeling, losing games left and right, and again, not getting blown out. The offense hasn't been the problem with this team. Timely offense, yes, but just the overall offense really hasn't been the problem. It's been the pitching, and then the offense is having to make up for that. And you can only outscore your opponents so much before it catches up with you. And just to kind of give you a breakdown of the American League East, the Yankees have lost 3 straight, last 10, 5-5. Here's kind of the shitty part, 2K crew, is the Red Sox are winners of their last 5, 8-2 in their last 10. The Blue Jays they've lost 3 straight, but 6-4 in their last 10, and Tampa has won 3, and they are 7-3 in their last 10. So, yes, the Red Sox are winning. Yes, they're gaining ground, but it kind of stinks on the other hand, because, I mean, granted, they just swept the Yankees, so there's 3 games, but the other 2 teams are still on the positive side of 500 in the last 10 games. So that does stink. But progress is progress. This is something that even during the broadcast today, they were talking about after this series, or after the Blue Jays series, the schedule tends to be a little less hectic. We're talking about teams like Colorado in the such, to where some very winnable games should be some very low stress for the pitching staff. The offense should continue to eat, and kind of that, if you look back at the beginning of the season, that's kind of the schedule that the Red Sox had, and they were still managed to be around 500. But you look at what that team consisted of, and kind of just the aura of the team. A lot of that is fixed now, or was. And I had this whole show pretty much in my head outlined. We were going to talk about Roman Anthony coming up, which is awesome. Is awesome. The much awaited Roman Anthony call up has not hit the ground running, but it's still that the big three all in the majors is still the best option for the Red Sox, not only for this season but moving forward. And there a lot of Red Sox fans were talking about, just let the kids come up, let them eat, and whatever happens, happens. And I was kind of at that point. And then, Bregman goes down, Meyer comes up. Willier goes down, Anthony comes up. And I know every single media outlet has talked about it, how his grandpa, his dad, and his brother are all named Anthony Anthony. I mean, can we get more Italian than that? I mean, how awesome is that? The only thing that would have been better is if they were all wearing tracksuits, Adidas tracksuits. That would have been sweet. That would have been sweet. But I can say that Marcelo and Anthony and Roman do look very, very nice in the green, or in the monster unis. Love those unis. I know the yellows, the yellow City Connects were a very, very popular uniform choice, but I dig them. I do. I really do. But these new ones this year with the monster are much better. Much better. Well, I guess let's rip the Band-Aid off. I mean, this is why everyone's here watching. I'm assuming you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. Rafael Devers traded to the San Francisco Giants. And before we get into, some tweets and some reports and everything, I just want to give you my initial reaction. My initial reaction, like every other Red Sox fan, was, what the fuck? This has to be a joke, right? And when Jeff Passan tweets it, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. And so then immediately my whole Twitter feed is just filled with just angry fans, pissed off. This, Breslow needs to be fired immediately. Sell the team. Bulldoze Fenway. This is absolute bullshit, which I get. And I still don't know what to think about it. If I'm being 100% honest. And yes, it absolutely sucks. It absolutely sucks as a Red Sox fan, knowing that we traded away Mookie Betts and none of those pieces. There's only one piece in Connor Wong that is still around from that trade. Verdugo had his ups and downs, and he's playing in Atlanta, I guess, and has bounced around and looked completely horrible in New York without a beard. So, I mean, it's hard when you trade away, your quote unquote face of the franchise. Very rarely does the team that's doing the trading get a haul that's even close to what the player that they're trading pans out to be, or projects to be, or does moving forward. So it seems to me like it's always the team that's trading away the superstar always loses. Now, rewind when we a couple weeks ago when we talked about Juan Soto, and when the haul that they got from the Nats got from the Padres, that's pretty legit. That was pretty legit. I'm not saying Devers is Juan Soto. I'm not saying that he should garner that type of package. But at least the Nats are seeing what they traded for. Mackenzie Gore playing out of his mind. C.J. Abrams has been their starting shortstop for a couple years now. James Wood is hitting the cover off the baseball. So I'm sure Nats fans were kind of upset when Soto was traded, but now I'm sure they're ecstatic. Sure, they're ecstatic. They don't have one player that's, almost $800 million. And let's be honest, the Nats tried to keep him, but did not come even close to what the number that he settled with in New York. So there's that. And when we talk about the Mookie trade, that was kind of the same thing. That was kind of I'm pretty sure Red Sox Nation was expecting that. This one was complete and utter, like, holy shit, this can't be real. This can't be real at all. Whereas with, like I said, with Mookie, it was almost like, okay, you open up Twitter, where's he going? Where's he going? It was pretty much, I think 99% of us were like, he's going to be a Dodger. Just let me know what. It's Verdugo and who else. As far as the package was concerned, the Red Sox tried to re-sign him, or not re-sign him. Sorry, extend him, and he said no. He wanted to test free agency, which, all things considered, the Dodgers were going to pay him more than the Red Sox were. But that's the thing with Devers. He was already signed here. They extended him. He wasn't testing free agency for like 10 more years. So again, that's the part of this that makes it so odd. And then the timing. Let's talk about the timing. Vibes are the highest they've been in Boston all season. All season. Anytime, yes, Red Sox, Yankees, anytime the Red Sox can beat the Yankees is a great day, especially in Boston. But to sweep and just the utter dominance of what they did to Aaron Judge, the golden boy, the best right-handed hitter in baseball, best right-handed hitter in the history of baseball. What this staff did to him was amazing. Just amazing. And you saw this Red Sox team do things that, with Trevor's Story in particular yesterday, stretching a single into a double, taking that extra base. We're picking off guys, the Yankees off second base like it's our job. I mean, we've got, the Yankees with the trade for Narvaez. Love it. Absolutely love it. It seemed like everything was clicking. Seemed like, the vibes are the highest they've been. Everyone's hitting on all cylinders. The pitching staff's doing their thing. The position players, granted, still could clean that up a little bit. But everything was just, it felt good. It felt good. You felt, as a Red Sox fan, you felt proud of this team. You're like, yes, that's my motherfucking team. That is it. Yes, we're one game over 500. We're fourth in the division, but you know what? We're a legitimate playoff team now. Something the Red Sox haven't done in 4 years. So then this bomb drops. And it's like, okay. So let's take a look at it, even though I really don't think it matters. Because my initial thought was, or one of my initial thoughts was, okay, when it comes trade deadline time, someone's got to go. And we've heard talks about, the Giants were interested in Duran. And there were so many people going, oh my goodness, we can't get rid of Duran. He's the spark plug. This team goes as he goes. I get that. I love the kid. Love the kid. Love the heart. Hell, he was a 9-win. If you're into WAR, he was a 9-win player last year. All-Star Game MVP. Love every minute of it. Every minute of it. But do you trade him or Rafaela? Even though Rafaela could be Platinum Glove Award winner in center field. Can also play the infield. We've seen his offense kind of start chugging along once June hit, which is awesome. Love it. He provides a right-handed pop that this team desperately needs. So do you get rid of him? Then there's Abreu in right, which that's where Roman Anthony's been playing since, he's been out on the IL, but his return is sooner rather than later. in All-Star last year, or not All-Star, but Gold Glove winner last year. So so do you trade him? And I'm not saying that to me, Devers was one of those guys that was just untradeable, untouchable. Him and Garrett Crochet, anyone else will listen. But you have to, as a Red Sox fan, we have been told for the last 3 and 4 years that the young kids are on the way. The youth is on the way. Now, granted, with the 3 starting outfielders we have right now, are very young. Very young. And you would think that their production at the major league level, still with all of this service time, until arbitration, would be very, very, very appealing. And my thought, before we get off the, trading any of the outfielders, yes, I understand that, Fenway loves Jarren Duran. We love Rafaela for his defense. We love Abreu for his defense and, his pop. But it comes down to, do we love Roman Anthony more? Do we want to see Roman Anthony out there more than one of those 3 guys? And the answer is yes, at least for me. At least for me. And we saw in this last series to where both him and Mayer were not starting against, one would start it versus a lefty, but they're not going to start both of them. But it depended on the lefty. So there's going to be some games where neither one are going to start, which is fine. Red Sox fans had a tizzy fit with this. If you bring these kids up, you better bat them every day. And it's like, no, you have to kind of get them in the mix, get their feet wet. Yes, they're going to fall on their face. I get that. But you have to gradually bring them in. They did it with Casas. They did it with Willier. And look at the production that Willier's been doing on, against lefties this season prior to him getting hurt. Much better. Much better. So there is a process. There is a process, and I get it. I get it. But what I was getting at is, do I want Roman Anthony in left over Jarren Duran? Yes. Yes, I do. Does that mean I want Jarren Duran traded? If it means seeing Roman Anthony there every day, then yes. Or Rafaela. Duran played a very serviceable center field last year. Not even in the conversation as good of a defender as Rafaela, but serviceable. So to me, it was one of those 2 guys. It was one of those 2 guys. And yes, I know the fact that they extended Rafaela does make it a little bit more, harder to move with the contract. I get that. But still, unless they're going to be playing, slow pitch softball, 2K crew, I really don't see him running a 4-man outfield. I don't think Major League Baseball allows that. So one of them's got to go. One of them's got to go. Never even crossed my mind. Never crossed my mind that especially this early. Now, I thought that they would play this season out, address everything with Devers, and then go about it that way in the offseason. But Breslow said, nope, we're doing it right now. We're doing it right now. Let's see here. This is from Tyler Milliken. The full return for Devers by Robert Murray, Robert Murray was the one who broke this news. Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, James Tibbs, Jose Bayo. Giants take on all of Devers' money. You didn't even get Bryce Eldridge. And Tyler, I think the reason they didn't get Bryce Eldridge is because of the fact the Giants took all of the contract. All of the contract. So let's take a peek at another one here. This is from Boston Strong over on Twitter, Boston Strong _34. Unless Devers asked for this trade, this is fucking atrocious by Craig Breslow. We'll get into that. And he goes on to say that the Red Sox felt like Devers didn't want to live up to his responsibilities and do the right things for the team, so they decided to trade him via Pete Abe. Now, I ripped those tweets probably a little over an hour ago, and I've had differing things come back, alerts on my phone saying that Devers did not ask to be traded. And the last one I got was from Jeff Passan, which, again, to me, that's gold. I don't think he actually said yes. Let's see here. It didn't say he wanted to be traded. He didn't want to be in Boston anymore. So you could go. This could go one of two ways. 2K crew. First, if you're looking this way, this is Breslow's fault, the front office's fault, Cora's fault for not addressing the situation correctly in spring training prior to signing Alex Bregman. Now, would the situation pan out differently? We'll never know. But the fact that he plays third base, Chaim Bloom said, okay, we're extending you. You're our third baseman. You play third base for the Boston Red Sox. He said that, I was told I was the Boston Red Sox third baseman, which I get. So the front office mishandled everything. This has been an ongoing thing. I just figured it was one of those things that it would just kind of, ebbs and flows of the season. He's had his best, one of if not his best seasons at the plate. And as a fan, you're like, okay, he's gotten hurt playing third base. So if we're not playing third base, maybe we can hit more, which has been the case. Yes, he got off to the shit start this season, but it's like those first 2 weeks never even happened, and he's hitting the cover off the ball, and he's hitting, almost 300. I believe he hits his 16th home run today. Again, still owning the Yankees. But then that kind of got swept under the rug. Okay, Bregman's our third baseman. I'm the DH. Casas goes down. He's like, I don't want to play first base. I don't. And there were a lot of folks that are saying, well, you're the $300 million guy in this team. You're supposed to be the leader on this team. And everyone's like, well, Devers does lead, but he doesn't speak up. He's not a vocal leader. He's a do as I do, not as I say type of guy. What if Big Papi was that way? What if Big Papi never really talked, never really spoke to the media or the press? Just kind of went about his business, put his head down and said, you know what, fuck everybody else. This is what I'm going to do. Red Sox Nation would have a whole different outlook on Big Papi if that were the case. And I was watching, I've got the Giants Dodgers game on, and they were obviously talking about this trade because it's the talking point of sports right now. And they were interviewing the shortstop for the Giants, and he said, well, have you kept up with the drama in Boston? And he says, yeah, everybody has. Everybody in baseball has. Because I think, as the media works, that's just what they do, is they take a narrative and jam it down your throat. So yeah, if you watch any media, listen to anything, podcast, anything revolving around baseball, you're going to know all of this drama surrounding Rafael Devers and the Boston Red Sox. But here's the thing. I said on this podcast when he said that he didn't want to play first base. Now, granted, he could be the most terrible first baseman in the history of baseball. But it's one of those things. It's like, okay, I mean, granted, yes, he has one ring. Pretty sure his paycheck is a driving force in what he does on a day in and day out basis. But I'm pretty sure Rafi Devers likes to win baseball games. Pretty sure all baseball players love to play baseball games. And when you say, no, I'm just not doing something, I don't like it. I don't like it. You take the highest paid player over here, and you have a rookie who just got extended this season, who plays just about every spot. You're like, okay, now go play first base. Take extra reps before the game at first base while you're still trying to play second base and center field of all places at the big league level. Your rookie year, you had a fantastic start to your career. And now we're seeing kind of I'm not sure if it's the load that put on him, but it's like going into the Atlanta series, Cora says, okay, yep, we're going to see Campbell at first at some point in this Atlanta series. No, he didn't. Now, I will say that Abraham Toro, since joining the Red Sox and playing first base, and Romy Gonzalez, those dudes have been hitting. Those dudes have been playing some very, very good baseball. Very good baseball. But again, it comes down to, if Devers plays first, that opens up more maneuverability in the lineup to keep Anthony and Meyer in the lineup on a daily basis. And yes, Romy Gonzalez, Rob Refsnyder, Abraham Toro, all been playing well. All been playing very well. But do I want Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer on the field as opposed to them? Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Not taking anything away from those gentlemen. But yes, I do. 100%. So yeah, Red Sox Nation, I'm not sure what to say. I'm not, because I sat here on this show and said, if he's not willing to play first, get him the hell out of here. Get him out of here. Don't want it, can't have it. And it seems like, yes, this was I think, after reading what Passan said about he wanted out of Boston, again, thought this would be addressed at the end of the season, not prior to the All-Star break, or very, very far from the trade deadline. So I'm fairly confident that I'm not going to say this, the Red Sox are going to be better without Devers, because that's just asinine to say. He's the best. He's the best. Him and Shohei are the two best DHs in baseball, hands down. Two best DHs in baseball. And I hate to be that guy, to be like, a vibes guy, because you can't measure vibes. You can't measure camaraderie. You can't measure how well a team gets along together. And and for the folks that are watching for Red Sox content, I guarantee each and every one of you watched that doc. How many times did you see Devers in that doc? Not many. Not many at all. Was it because he didn't want to be in it? I don't know. But there had to be a reason that he did not. That he wasn't in that dock. It very rarely seemed like he was a part of that team off the field. Why? I can't tell you. Big Papi has come out and said that he's tried to help some of these young kids with his hitting, being a ball player, being a major league ball player, and quote unquote, none of them want his help. What if that was just Rafael Devers? What if it was Devers just saying, "No, Papi, I got it. I got it. These fans already love me. I don't need your help." What if that is the case here? We saw Jim Rice taking or helping Roman Anthony in right field last week. Or this week, sorry. I need more of that. I need more of that. I need Papi in the dugout, helping the pregame, helping in the cage, whatever capacity. And maybe we as Red Sox fans, we were looking for that spark. We were looking for that thing that brought this team together. And I'm not saying addition by subtraction is always the best method, but man, this could do it. This could do it. They had talked to some of the players about, does Rafi have beef with anyone because of his lack of wanting to do extra things? And they all said no. But what if one of them would have said yes? Have we ever stopped to think about that? What if one of them said, yeah, dude's a complete dick. We're all busting our ass out here, and he's just sitting there. All he wants to do is hit. Which that's what they told him to do. So I really can't fault him for it. But maybe this is the vibes boost that this Red Sox team needs. And at this point, yes, starters looked great the last handful of games. The bullpen looked great. Aside for, what was it, Guerrero last night or yesterday? Terrible. Dobbins spins a butte and still gets the win, but the bullpen almost fucks it up. So, aside from that, but the hitters are hitting. Pitchers are pitching. Devers hit a bomb today. And like I said, I pray that I'm right, that this is addition by subtraction. And I think it's going to take a huge, huge weight off Alex Cora's shoulders, because he's the one that's been sticking up for Devers this entire season. That's my guy. That's my DH. Nope, he's not playing first. Nope, he's not playing third. Sorry about it. He's our DH. He didn't have to talk about that anymore. He doesn't have to mess with it anymore. At the end of the day, do I want Rafael Devers on my baseball team? Yes. 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 Do I think him, Anthony, and Meyer, and Campbell, and Crochet, and all these other young kids would have been great together for many years to come? I do. I do. I do. But at the end of the day, they're fourth place in the American League East. Something had to happen to keep all of the big three up. Whether it's continued fourth placeness for the rest of the season, so be it. So be it. But this is what we were promised, is the big three. And for those of you that did not want Devers traded, or not Devers, but Durant traded, Rafaela traded, Abreu traded, I still think one of those guys are going to move next. Because at the end of the day, this team needs pitching depth. Let's put it that way. Pitching depth. A true, honest to goodness number 2 would be absolutely fantastic. But if you look at the haul that they got from Rafi Devers, I'm not too pumped up to see what the package for either one of those three gentlemen would be. But it has to lead to some sort of pitching because, and I get it. We all think we know these guys. We watch them on a daily basis. We have a connection with them because they're our favorite player. I get it. I get it. But when the ring that Devers won, he wasn't asked to be the leader. There were guys already doing that. He was just see ball, hit ball, play an average third base, sometimes below average. And now we have a crew that, well, Jeff Basson just tweeted, so let's take a peek at this. Hot off the press from Jeff Passan, the Rafael Devers to San Francisco blockbuster has executives across baseball confounded. On one hand, the Red Sox got out from a deal every model in baseball has as underwater and got talent back. On the other hand, a team with talent and momentum just traded its best hitter. What's clear, Buster Posey is running the Giants to win and win now. $250 million plus owed Devers to be damned. And 5 years after the Red Sox moved Mookie Betts, Craig Breslow made a deal he knew would be a very unpopular because the math said it was a very good one for Boston. Yeah, saves him a lot of money. Saves him a lot of money. But I'm telling you, 2K crew, it's the vibes. It's the vibes. And I hope that I'm right that you see a Red Sox team that has kind of a cloud or monkey off the back type reaction to this tomorrow. I really do. I really do. And I think you'll see it the most with Alex Cora in particular because he just hasn't looked like himself this season. Seems like he's overthinking things, reacting too late to things. So hopefully this is a weight lifted off of his shoulders in particular to kind of get him back to that guy that we're all like, yes, that is our manager. That is our manager. Well, 2K Crew, I'll get you out of here on this. Everyone have a great what's left of your Father's Day. Everyone have a fantastic week moving forward. Yep. Buckle up, Boston. I'm not out on this team yet. I actually think they're going to get better. Call me crazy. I know I'm going to get roasted, but with as many people that are down on this, it sucks. But there was something hanging over this team that needed to be addressed, and I honestly think this is it. So everyone have a great week. I'll see you next week, and as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.